All right. Today's guest, I've been trying to get him for a while, actually. I'm a big fan of your work, John.
Thank you, Mets.
You're a social media sensation, entertainer. I look at you like an entrepreneur, comedian.
Mm-hmm.
You've been featured in TV commercials, which I didn't know. I go, mate, Tab, VB, Voltaren. Was Voltaren your best? But we'll get into that.
Yeah.
Gap, RSPCA and more. You've also appeared in TV shows like the famous Aussie soap Home and Away, Family Feud. I'm going to ask you about Family Feud. Mate, it's blown my mind.
Yeah, I some of those are a lie.
Okay.
Some of those are just patting the stats on the resume. The Home and Away one, yeah, I was an extra on that. That's true.
What about Family Feud?
Family Feud were on that. Yeah, the
Okay.
family was on that. Voltaren, yeah, it was like a little extra in ad. The big one was RSPCA. I did a VB ad early on. We're talking like 2019, 20. But
And then in your previous life, fuck, this guy's 26 and he's had about 10 lives. But in your previous life, you're played in the lower grades for Manly, the team that I go for as a dummy half.
yeah,
hooker.
Manly supporter.
Big Manly supporter.
Yeah, jeez.
Bro, when I listen to your career, I feel like, fuck, I've done nothing. And I'm 47, so I'm getting a bit
Yeah,
worried
but the
about...
rugby league, it's like kids. You know, you play your junior level and then you go and try and make 20s. You want to try and make first grade. Didn't get to crack it, obviously, but yeah, I do miss playing footy. My dad played first grade. That's why I wanted to
Did
play
he?
first
Who
grade.
for?
He played for Manly and the Roosters. Didn't play a lot of games, but he was a quick winger. In another life, he wishes he was a hooker, maybe a halfback, nippy halfback. But yeah, I grew up wanting to play first grade. Got to play with some really good players that play first grade right now.
Who are some of those players?
Yeah, you had Nico Hines. I played in his 20s team.
Yeah.
Brad Parker was in there. But even just growing up through the grades, like in the Canterbury comp and playing people from the South comp, Sifa, Talakai,
Yep.
Sione Katoa, Taniela Paseka, Junior Totola, all those boys were around my age group. And we kind of, we had some good little rivalries with Holy Cross when we were in the Balmain comp and stuff like that. So yeah, Bailey Sirinen, all those boys.
Who did you look up to in footy? Like, you're playing dummy half. Who was the kind of guy that you wanted to emulate in rugby
Well,
league?
you'd have to say Robbie Farah because he was a wog hooker.
That's true, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, anyone that could kind of make it. There was a guy named Josh Curry.
Yeah.
He was 2 years above me. He owns a successful cafe now. Shout out to Rusty Rabbit down in Darlinghurst. Owns one in Burwood as
Rusty
well.
Rabbit.
He was a halfback hooker,
Yeah.
and he was nippy and stuff like that. And I was like, he's doing well. I want to do what he's doing,
Yeah.
and try and make it. And we both never made it.
Well, look, I'll tell you what. I played rugby league, but I didn't even make it to your level. And you said you suck, so I must suck more than you.
Nah.
So, but
There was a fitness issue. I don't have the Anglo-Saxon cardiovascular. No, it definitely was. I could maybe
Are you
last.
saying wogs don't have it? Huh?
No, some can. Some have freak genetics. I just didn't have it. I couldn't get. My legs were too heavy. I tried to put on too much size. I didn't have the fitness. I could max go 40 minutes probably in a game, and I wish I, in hindsight, applied myself a little bit more like I do nowadays into getting fitter and becoming a better player. But it wasn't meant to be.
Yeah. Now, obviously, you're doing heaps of skits. Unbelievable work, right? Like, I do a lot of content, so I understand how much goes into it. Like, what's the process like? You done Stephen Hawking the other day. It's fucking brilliant,
Oh,
right?
thanks.
And like that came out, and 2 days later, like I think a day later, your video came out.
Yeah.
Like, how fast are you guys at doing that?
I think you got to be reactive. Like content, especially with comedy stuff or things that are trending. If you want it to do well, you got to be on top of it really quickly. So that was like because I've done a Stephen Hawking video before. I knew where to go. It was like a reference, and he's in the news for being on the island. I don't know for those who don't know. But,
oh yeah, mate. If you don't know, if you've missed the news,
you're
where
under
the
a
fuck
rock.
are you living?
But yeah, so it's more so I've seen this all over my Twitter. I've seen it all over my Instagram. Let's try and make something funny around it. And I'm lucky because I got 4 brothers, bounce ideas off them. It's not just me doing it by myself. I got mates. I got really close mates like Jaden and a couple others. His name's Jacob. We kind of bounce ideas off each other. And collaborate all the time. Plus, I collaborate with other creators as well that are in it for the long run too. I don't know if you saw, I did one with a guy named Shaq TV the other day. This guy has a YouTube channel and he's been creating for the last 3-4 years, a lot longer than I have, and just consistently putting out skits and weekly videos on YouTube and TikTok. So I like the collaborative aspect of it. It's not just me kind of coming up with the ideas. I like bouncing ideas off people. I would say find something trending and jump on it. Otherwise, you have observations throughout the day and go, this could be a funny idea, and then kind of ideate it, and then film a video and just do it.
But let me ask you a question. Like, you guys are talented, man. Like, can anyone do that shit? Like, it's not easy because, like, who do you look up to? Like, I mean, I don't know if you can call the Nelk Boys. They kind of are.
Yeah, they do pranks,
Yeah,
and we do
pranks.
some of that. We
Yeah,
do
yeah.
some of that. We try and keep it like a bit of variety between all
But you
my
need
brothers and
talent
us.
to do it, right? You can't just
Prank stuff, I think, is just having balls. A lot of it's
Yeah.
having balls, like the interview and in public stuff. Like we did a video where we almost jumped the fence at the Capitol building in Washington, and we almost got arrested. That's just balls. That's just not like, oh, you need talent to do that. I don't think so. But maybe coming up with the ideas and the acting side, but you get better, and you would know, is getting better with repetition.
Yeah.
When it comes to skits or putting out content in general, interview content. I like Pat McAfee. That's someone I look up to. He's
he's good, man. I like Pat.
You know, he does
He's
interviews.
so natural, right?
He does his show. He's a former NFL player, played for the Colts.
Well, wasn't he just the kicker though?
He was a
gets hammered,
punter,
He was
but they get paid a lot of money.
Yeah,
they get paid a lot of money.
But he gets hammered for that.
No, he wasn't. He was a punter. He gets hammered for it. But I mean, he walked away from that to pursue comedy, and then that went into talk show hosts, and now he runs his own show on YouTube. I think I eventually want to emulate that or become an Australian version of that.
But he's on ESPN now.
Yeah.
So he got a
now.
contract with ESPN.
Yeah, he was signed with FanDuel, which is a massive gambling company over there. They actually own Sportsbet here.
Yeah.
And then he canned that deal to go sign with ESPN. There's mass exposure everywhere. He does College Game Day. He's been with the WWE. That's something I want to tick off as well. I'd like to emulate him, but he doesn't necessarily do a lot of skits and stuff like that. And that's probably the comedians that I watch. I enjoy. You get your Dave Chappelle's. Cat Williams, I think, is very funny. Ricky Gervais.
I just watched that. What about that trend, huh?
That was massive. It just popped off.
Wasn't like
It's on like 25 million views. That Club Shay Shay interview that he did.
No, it's more. I was listening.
Really?
I listened to the whole thing.
Yeah, me
yesterday.
too. How good is it?
That was at about.
He did his
million.
own little stand-up special on there.
You know what I didn't realize about that guy? I was just listening to his story. He actually left home when he was 13.
Yeah, I know.
And went from Ohio to Florida. Like I'm like you. I watch heaps of content and I look at what's trending. I just love it. Like you're probably the same, right?
Yeah. Well, I feel like for me, it's more like I want to see what's trending right now. What's everyone talking about? How can I make that a bit? Or just be well versed.
Are you
on
gonna
it.
do Cat Williams?
Nah, probably not a bit on Cat Williams. But I'd like to maybe eventually be like Cat Williams and go nuts on a podcast like that on everyone. He was just putting shit on everyone.
Fuck.
Then he had receipts on everyone too, which was funny. And they've all come out and no one said he was lying. No one said it. You know what I mean? They've all just kind of addressed it and said, that is my joke or that, I mean, he put it on Ludacris, everyone.
Fuck.
Kevin Hart?
Kevin Hart,
Yeah.
Look, I had my suspicions on Kevin Hart.
This is how my mates feel about Kevin Hart, is we laughed at him when we were at school, when we were kids, when we were 15, 16 years old. Oh, this bit's hilarious. And he's just yelling. Maturing is, I think, realizing that Kevin Hart isn't as fun. He's a movie star now. Yeah. And you read off a script. His stand-up bits aren't as memorable as Chappelle's or Cat Williams. Some of Cat Williams' stuff is great. And I'm not just saying that. Yeah, I've probably done like a binge of all his stand-up bits more recently with all this stuff coming out. But he's saying that he has just put in work. He's done 100 city tours.
Yes.
And he hasn't, and not a lot of comedians have done the same. That have been put on by Netflix and all these others. That's my understanding of the interview.
But what was that comedian that passed away? He said he was the
Bernie
best.
Mac.
Bernie Mac.
Yeah.
When he said Bernie Mac, I got to watch Bernie Mac just to see, because
Bernie Mac's great.
I get really interested when comedians and talented people start to mention people that I haven't watched, because I go, wait a second, I've seen this guy act, but I've got to watch why they say that.
He was in Ocean's 11. He was in a couple other movies.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I loved how he acted. But now it's intriguing to want to go and watch that. And I'm very similar to you. But like when I look at your talent, I go, this guy, and I remember saying this. I go, he's probably too good for the Aussie market. Is the Aussie market? Are they not as welcoming as the American one? You were just in America.
Everyone says the tall poppy syndrome. Yeah. I don't even think it's that, to be honest. I feel like most places are a little bit gatekept. Like we've been making content on TikTok for almost 2.5 years, and we got a sizable following in there, almost 700,000. We don't get it. We don't get invites to
Anything.
you know, like a TikTok awards. Not that I fucking want to go there anyway. I couldn't care less.
Yeah.
But it's like it's gatekept. If I wanted to get a role with Fox Sports, maybe on a show, these positions are really coveted. Even on radio, like I was doing a guest spot on radio for Cater. Every Friday I would do like a sports report. Again, I feel like I've done enough presenting now where I could probably try and get on the radio myself. But the avenues are getting there and these spots are really coveted. It probably is just difficult that it's smaller of us. How long's Kyle and Jackie O been on the radio for? How long has Matty Johns been on Fox Sports for? And Matty Johns is one of the best talents in Australia. Like he's comedically very funny. He's great. And Fletcher and Heine, but I'm saying they've had those roles on TV for 10 years. It's very hard to get into. And you meet with talent agencies. You know, I think we met with IMG last year, and then be like, getting into TV's hard. Like these roles is not, you know, you got to be handpicked for some of these roles, and you got to go through these agencies to get some of these roles. So I feel like there's less opportunity here in the mainstream. You got to really have to carve out your path, and the people that are doing it on YouTube are probably better because you self-fund. But overseas, each state is its own Australia. New York's its own Australia. You know, Florida's its own Australia. Dubai's its own place now that's a hub where there's just endless opportunity with brands and stuff like that. So I feel like to expand and grow your profile a little bit more and not be limited, there's like a ceiling here of how far you can go before you maybe get tapped on the shoulder by someone and get the Bo Ryan, hey, you can host the show now. Or, you know, you can do the footy show. Now you can do the Amazing Race for 800,000 for 3 months, and you can do the morning show, Bo Ryan. Even though he's kind of got less funny over time. I love you, Bo. You should do the show sometime.
So that's interesting because, like, right now, you got the different platforms. So if someone doesn't want you, you got to really carve it out, you know, completely differently and in a different way, in a different format. And you got the balls to go overseas, and obviously you got the balls to make a lot of content. Like I think you're in Italy and you're wearing a Speedo.
Yeah, I've got them on now. Actually, I'll go for a swim later. Yeah.
What was that like? What were the Italians like when they were watching you?
That was in Venice.
That was fucking funny, bro.
Venice, I think it's a crime to be, you know, dressed indecently.
Yes.
I think so. You got to respect the laws of each country.
Yeah.
Immediately put some clothes back on after the gondola. But yeah, no, I've done that in Paris. We did it at the Ashes. We did it at Wimbledon where we worked with budgie smugglers. Eventually, I just started it. I was in Florida. I was like, you know, it'd be funny. Let's get their thoughts on budgie smugglers because they're pretty popular here in Australia. Yeah. They're popular here they're popular in the UK. So I was like, let's get some African Americans' thoughts on budgie smugglers. Let's just get general Americans' thoughts on budgie smugglers. We're at a beach in Florida, and me and my brother did some interviews there, and they were freaking out like, "What the fuck's this? We've never seen. Like, you don't wear this, really." And the budgies thought that was really funny, some of their reactions, and they reposted it with us.
Wow.
I kind of had never spoken to them before, and I said, hey, I can keep making this kind of stuff. It's kind of, I enjoy doing it. It's not too bad. And then we just kind of developed a relationship, and we've worked together over time. It's probably been like 2 years now. So when I was overseas, we made some budgies content, and it's fairly easy. I pitched to them an idea of wearing budgies in public where you're not supposed to. So the first one was a bank. Second one was a designer store, you know, and I've just done it in various other places. Then we did it in the Louvre. We almost got kicked out of Wimbledon. Yeah.
Fuck, did you get through? Actually, I did see that video.
Yeah.
How was the Louvre like? That's ballsy.
You get inside and then you do it. You dress up the video. There's ways to do it. It was fun. But you realize that no one really cares that much.
Yeah.
No one really cares that much. Like security will blow up a little bit. Everyone's kind of going, what? Like they're almost taken aback by it. Like, why are you doing that for?
And you got a microphone in your
hand.
Got
a microphone with you, or it's clipped somewhere. But the budgies content's always fun. I like doing. They do a no ordinary rig contest every year. We've been supposed to do some stuff with that. And they do a lot of stuff with rugby league. I went down to Magic Round with them. Yeah. And did some stuff. So they're pretty big in Australia. They get bigger each summer.
Obviously, you're getting very well known everywhere. Do you get stopped a lot in the streets, or you're going through places now in your area? You come to the east, like
I'd say like among the younger audience for sure. People come up to you, say hello, you take selfies, or when you're on a night out, you take selfies. I don't mind. It's still kind of new to me. It's fun, and it's always funny to me. People just maybe you walk past someone, they'll laugh. And you realise they're referencing a video, or like they've seen you online, wherever I've seen you from, or you get like stares and people point at you. But I don't mind it. It comes with it. No one's really confronted me and said, I don't like this or like that,
Yeah.
or you're a flog. It's more, if you cop any negativity online, it just kind of stays online. Everyone in person is pretty civil.
Yeah.
So, I have been getting recognised. And my brother as well. He gets recognised a lot. I've actually starting to get more so now because we've been travelling a lot together is, which one are you?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's kind of cool. The most weird ones is when we get recognised overseas. So we're in Abu Dhabi and we had fans, the UFC fans,
Wow. Yeah.
coming up and taking photos with us. Obviously, they probably don't get a lot of celebrities over there, but we took some photos over there. And then when we're in the UK, there's a small rugby league following over there.
Yeah.
Well, because you got the English Super League. So you'll get some people come over and say, I love your rugby videos. So over the last probably 6 to 12 months, we've been getting, hey, I've seen you do some UFC stuff and I like your rugby videos when we're overseas and take some photos overseas. It's rarer overseas. We've got to grow overseas.
Yeah.
But I'm getting to like a good 5%, 5 to 10% of a US audience now because I've been over there a fair bit, which is pretty cool.
But mate, like honestly, like I watch your stuff. It's entertaining to me. But like, how are the UFC guys when you go up to them? Because they're about to get ready for a fight, and you're
Yeah, they're in their fight week. Yeah.
And do you ever get worried that they're going to turn around and because I've seen a video where there was a security guard in America, and he go, "What do you do when you react?" And he kicked you. I don't know where he kicked you, but it looked like it fucking hurt.
Oh, that was the guy from Detroit, the security guard from Detroit. That did hurt. Yeah,
that looked like it hurt.
He was a Detroit survival training guy. He's a funny bloke. Takes his job very seriously.
Yeah,
kicked the shit out of me. Definitely hurt me.
Yeah.
With the UFC guys, the thing is that they do media that whole week.
Yeah.
So they have designated days where they're talking to someone from France. It's the media from France. They got TNT to talk to.
Yeah.
They've got all these different broadcasters from almost all over the world that are partners with the UFC. And I'm just in a line. I'm just waiting for my turn. I'm working with KO there. And we're just asking questions. I gotta get my questions cleared like most people. But the thing is, there's a girl over there that works directly with the UFC. Her name's Nina. She interviews the fighters, and it's a comedic style. She does it really well. She's very talented. She's blown up. She's really good with Dana White, and we've got to chat as well. And she just approaches it different to how general media would. She doesn't ask the basic questions where the fighters have to answer the same questions from each media company every single time. What are you most looking forward to? What's next for you? You know what I mean? You maybe do a little nickname, back and forth of fighters. We just try to mix it up, and I think that's what's been a little bit refreshing, and I think KO's enjoyed it, is we come with a bit more of a comedic angle. We're almost trying to be the Aussie Nina. What we found is probably some other media members don't like it too much because it's not,
You're not conforming.
You're not conforming to why aren't you asking serious questions all the time. But they get asked the same questions the whole week. So we just come with a little bit of difference and try and come up with some stuff that's a little bit more funny to the fighters. And I feel like they're a bit more receptive to it. Like Colby Covington off camera, he gave us so much time. Was a great bloke. Usually you get 5 minutes with him. He gave us like 10, 12 minutes.
Yeah.
He's
been copping a lot of shit too, though, eh?
He does, and he plays a persona. I think off camera he's actually a legend of a bloke. I got to chat to him for a little bit. Even some of the co-main events at Pantoja. What you see in the video is a small part of us doing the comedic interview. Off camera, everyone's cordial. We're just having a laugh.
Yeah.
It spices up their interview week, and some of them just go about it like they're doing the same interviews anyway. They don't really care. So, yeah, I feel like the general media, some that were over there aren't too fans of the interview style, but I feel like it's just a point of difference to what everyone else is doing.
Yeah. But when you were over in the States with your brother, did you kind of go, fuck, this is a place we could probably spend some time?
Well, we love New York.
Yeah.
New York's fun because it's exactly like the movies. And you can walk everywhere. There's always something on. Vegas is a bit too full on for us.
Yeah.
We would probably lose too much money, and it's too much. It's like you walk on the street, there's just naked people everywhere.
Yeah.
It's just in your face. It is Sin City. It's disgusting. So I wouldn't want to park up there, but definitely somewhere like Florida, and New York or Dubai.
Yeah.
Really, I feel places that are content friendly. And when we're on these trips, we go out, film something, film one or two things. Get back to the room, edit it. We have a sporting event on. We went to college football. we got to get that out while it's in the news, while it's
Yeah.
trending on social media for a bit. So it is kind of like
Oh, you're on the go.
you're on the go on those trips, but I wouldn't mind being based somewhere where it's not as frantic.
Yeah.
But yeah, so some of the content is time sensitive that you have to kind of turn it around.
So you film, and you've only got a window to get it out there. Who does the editing? You, your brother, or
Yeah,
just
we
a
both-
collaboration?
We both. So I was initially doing it at the start, like I'm talking 2 years ago when I first started, and just kind of self-taught it through YouTube. I use Premiere Pro, sometimes CapCut, but yeah. And then Nicholas, once we started doing the podcast together, he took a lot of that responsibility of doing the podcast stuff. He cuts and edits now, and now we just kind of balance it ourselves. We'll get to a point where we want to just be producing so much content, that Mr. Beast style of just, we just want to optimize ourselves being on camera. We don't need to be as hands-on in the editing, but we still want to have overlook everything. And with the skits, like I said, it's pretty basic at the moment. Everything's kind of under a minute, so we're not filming a TV show. It's not too difficult. But we like having our hand on it and, doing some, playing with the timing and mixing and matching certain things. And he's gotten really good at it. So we kind of just share the responsibility of editing.
Was that a conversation that you had to have with your brother? Yeah,
He wanted to do it. He was like, we've worked with some gambling agencies, and we work with KO, and I think we saw the opportunity. We were both working full time at one point for different companies.
What were you doing?
I was working in marketing.
Yeah.
Worked for a couple of businesses. Worked for BWS. He was working at a Sydney franchise, a sporting franchise. That he can't name, but
why not?
Oh, he got the tap on the shoulder because he was in the videos. So I'm saying eventually we just said we can kind of do this full time because we've been working with gambling companies or other media agencies. So it was in his best interest or in our best interest if we just go full on into it. He learned editing. He kind of took it upon himself, and he just self-taught it by cutting up podcast clips. Cutting up skits, subtitling clips. He just kind of eased his way into it. Now he's as good as I am with it. And we're not great. Like we're not. It's basic, but we can get better. And I feel like it's a skill to learn.
But it's reps, right? You get better with reps. When you started doing these skits, like obviously, you're going in a bank. I like that bank one as well. There's a lot of truth to that, but I like that bank one. But when your parents see you doing these different skits, what were they like? What was their early reaction?
I can't really remember initially of doing them. I just said, I'm going to make an account and just be consistent on it with making videos. I was in a skit comedy group early on that were doing live shows and stuff like that. And my parents were really supportive. Like they would come down to the shows and have a laugh. And that was when I was doing the commercials and stuff like that. I would really want to get into presenting and the entertainment side of things. And they were like, yeah, go for gold. So when I was doing my own page, that was more just like marketing for yourself and building your own kind of like portfolio. So they didn't really mind. It's probably only when there's some backlash, my mum gets worried.
Yeah.
She's...
Which vlog mums do.
Yeah, exactly right. My dad kind of rides the wave of the excitement of stuff as well. He's always checking the page, seeing how videos are doing and stuff. He checks it more than we do. No, we're very lucky. We've got really supportive Lebanese parents.
It's not a contentious subject now. It's actually funny, but it was funny at the time. You were predicting the COVID numbers. How the fuck did you do that, bro? Like
it was all
5 days in a row.
It was all maths. Yeah. We had the Kairouz
so you were good
probability
at maths
theorem.
then?
My brother is.
Yeah,
my brother is.
Yeah.
The Kairouz theorem. I was just the presenter.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So fuck, mate. What happened? He's predicted it for 5 days. I think the 6th or 7th day he's got it wrong, or they just go.
I think they changed it.
They changed it.
I think they changed it on us. Yeah. Look, that was definitely a catalyst that blew us up doing the COVID numbers. It kind of gave us mass exposure.
So that's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
Which videos have like made you guys big, like massive?
I know a video's done well when people come up to us on the street and go and speak about it.
Yeah.
So COVID, obviously, we still to this day, what's the COVID numbers? To this day, it was that big. It was that significant of a point in time. Then afterwards, we did the election.
Yeah.
We were handing out flyers at the election.
Yeah.
And I remember we went to the Tigers game. I think Tigers were playing the Bulldogs. Or we were just doing interviews at the Tigers game. It was at Leichhardt near election time. And people were like asking us, vote Greens, vote this, vote Labor. and they were mentioning the video to us. Election, they were doing like a couple of million per election video. And we put 3 or 4 out. We were pretending to be volunteers and handing out flyers.
Wow.
So I know, that's how I get a gauge of when a video is done well. But like that one done pretty well. Most things involving my grandmother do really well. She's a great sport, Data.
So that is your grandmother?
That is my grandmother, yeah. Some people mistake her for my mother.
She's not. No, you know what? She's mad on the cameraman.
Yeah.
So it runs in the family.
It does, yeah. She's got a good sense of humor. Dad's mum. Dad's mum. Shout out to Salma. But
I thought, okay, this, she's very good.
Yeah, she's good. I want to do more with her, like, and eventually start her own page. She loves it. She gets stopped in Roselands and, showed her shopping centre. They call it Data. People take selfies with her. She loves it. It's cute. But we have fun. We have fun with it. And I feel like we'll look back on it down the line and go, at least we had fun with our grandmother and, we enjoyed each other's company and have a laugh.
So that one gets a lot.
She usually does really well. And then I would say more recently we just did like a haircutting video that I've never done anything like. It did like almost 40 million views on Instagram. Like that was kind of astronomical. Didn't really expect it. But I feel like, again, people will say something about it. It was the woke barbers asking people their pronouns before they cut their hair and if they have permission to touch their hair. And we kind of just did like a parody of it at an ethnic barber.
Yeah.
And that really took off. Again, the relevant sporting stuff does really well. And like when we interviewed Nikola Jokic at the NBA Finals, again did million views, got picked up by ESPN. So yeah, it hasn't just been like you've done one video and it's kind of just blown up. Consistently over the last few years, we've done videos that have gone viral, so to speak. And it just I think it's just come from like consistency and volume. Yeah. But yeah, I would say the bank one was massive.
Man, the bank.
So going to the bank and giving them excuses of why you need to withdraw your money. Yeah. That did really well. We did a part 2 of it that did really well as well. So yeah, you kind of get a gauge of how they. What
was the reaction of the teller? I'm like,
a lot of them were shocked because I understand. I feel sorry for them. They're just doing their jobs. They got to do it. It's like part of the Oz track where they got to log. It's for anti-money laundering and all this bullshit. But at the end of the day, the general population aren't scammers.
No.
And I think it's a bit absurd to be asking, what do you need this money for? If it's some of like $2,000, it's your money. Yeah. You should be able to just take it out of the account. I remember I was overseas when I thought of the idea because I saw Westpac were limiting withdrawal limits at ATMs. Like, what the fuck? Like, you're limited to the amount of money you can pull out of an ATM. And I'll be like, and I've had instances. I did it like a couple of years ago where I was just jokingly with the teller going, I need this money for some random excuse and just see what they would say. And then I just thought when I get back from overseas, I'm going to make that into a video. And when I got back from that first tour that we did of like Europe and the States, I went with my brother to the bank and I'm like, let's just film it. Let's just pull money out and just see, because I'll know they'll ask.
How far away is your brother? Because when you're in the bank, you can't.
He's literally pretty close. Like again, so we don't have an operation. Like he's just holding a little camera like that. We're probably going to get smarter with that over time because people notice that. But again, like it was
because you got to have clever.
Yeah, and you got to get good responses from the tellers. Yeah. I mean, that confrontation is what makes it. Yeah. And then having the responses back and forth was fun. But a lot of people like the anal bleaching excuse. Yeah. And the transitioning excuse. That was the probably big hitters from that.
What was the second one?
The transitioning. I'm transitioning to a female. And it's not covered on Medicare.
It's trending. The transition is trending.
Yeah, so I felt like that was kind of easier. A funny excuse to give to him. Yeah. And she had to give me the money. She had no. She probably logged that in her computer.
Your brother, was he as keen as you in this space? Did he sort of want to?
I remember initially when the COVID stuff blew up. Yeah, he was one of the first ones to say, you might not have to work a regular job again. Like if you want to, if you pursue this kind of full time as a creator, and he's always wanted to get into sports analysis. Like I said, we love Pat McAfee. Yeah, we've always loved the WWE as well. So. Yeah, he's been just as keen as getting into it, and that's why we kind of started the podcast together. When we do interviews with people, we're doing it together. It's so much like the YouTube will be the Kairouz brothers. Yeah. yeah, we want to kind of be like the Nelk Boys, the Paul
Yeah.
brothers, Logan Paul does his own podcast
Yeah.
now. So I feel like we want to trend into that direction.
Well, you're very good at interviewing. I've seen you do so many interviews. I mean, it's just it's sort of like natural that you would sort of move towards that. Obviously, you know, what you do takes so many hours in a week, and obviously, money is a big thing. So for you guys, where does kind of your income come from? Does it come from sponsorships? Does it come from different endorsements?
Well, we're lucky because we were working with a gambling agency for a while, and that was kind of our income for so long. And then as you get bigger, you're working with more brands.
Yeah.
So you know, we're working with KO and stuff like. So it that definitely comes from sponsorships, and you know, collaborations with people. So you have to kind of balance how much you put out yourself and how much you do with branded stuff. We don't do a lot of branded stuff. We don't, you know, like, buy this water bottle like influencers do, and buy this apparel. A lot of female influencers will, you know, be pushing out products all the time. We don't do that as often, but we do a lot of stuff with stuff that's kind of in our lane, which is like sports media companies, gambling companies.
Yeah.
We've had some like online casinos reach out a few more times. So again, it's just like balancing. That's where you're going to get the good chunk of your income. But I said like the commercial aspect of going to that next step, like as a presenter, as a comedian, is, you know, trying to get into that mainstream radio, television. But they're very hard. It's very hard to break into, because you got to show that you're getting numbers yourself. You got to be popular enough. You probably got to kiss the right ass. That's a big thing.
Well, you've seen Cat Williams.
Yeah.
Maybe more than kiss
Well,
the right
I'm just
ass,
saying,
right?
like, there's been like, maybe more. But
I think that's a bit easy.
There's people on TV, and it's like, firstly, less people are watching TV.
Of course.
And that's
100%.
a product of it's not entertaining anymore.
Yeah.
Less people, no one watches The Project anymore. The
It's
comedians
overly regulated.
Yeah, the comedians that are on TV, it's like they got to get their jokes approved before they do anything, and it's like almost they're just pushing a narrative all the time. The shows are pretty shit. It's all reality TV garbage hosted by Abby Chatfield. You know, that's like on, you know, whether it's F-Boy Island or Maths or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's just garbage. So it's like there's no
My wife's been watching the Dubai.
Dubai Bling.
Yeah, so don't say anything about that.
No, well, I'm saying they're made for females. They're made for females. I feel sorry for blokes that have to watch them. It's mind-numbing. I feel like you lose intelligence watching them.
She watched 8 episodes the other day, and I had to watch the last 2.
But there's a guy on there, Chris Fade.
The Aussie guy.
He's Aussie.
Yeah, I've seen
He's
that.
over in Dubai, you know, on Virgin Radio, and he's killing it. He doesn't have to go through the avenues here. And I don't think he's anything special. He's an Aussie presenter.
Yeah.
So the thing is like, yeah, there's going to be more opportunity overseas to earn an income, I think, like, or working with bigger brands long term.
Yeah.
But yeah, here, like I said, it's just hard. You got to get the tick of approval before getting that next step. I think that's the way it goes.
No, you're right.
I've only been doing it for 2.5 years, but from my understanding,
And I think you guys are a brand on your own, right?
Yeah.
I think you're a brand on your own, but like, how are you going to get in the like? You just want to get in the WWE. How does that work?
oh, I don't know, like how we've
What do you-
kind
Rey
of
Mysterio?
worked a little bit with the.
You could be the Rey Mysterio.
Oh, I'd like to be a wrestler. I need to probably learn how to take some bumps first. But like the backstage announcers or something like that, I feel like that I'll eventually work with alongside WWE Australia.
I
You know,
think
I've
he's
spoken
definitely
with
got the
people from
character.
Binge for a little bit, like to maybe do some stuff. Even if it's just from a social point of view, we are big fans. We've been following it our whole lives. You know, and it goes through up and down periods. It's at an all-time popularity high right now, the WWE, after the merger with the UFC.
Yes.
But I feel like how we've kind of worked our way in and starting to do some UFC stuff with the fighters, I feel like that could go hand in hand with doing WWE stuff.
Yeah, 100%. Have you guys? Obviously, you must have been a massive WWE fan. Like, who are your favorite athletes? I mean, it's such a massive entertainment organization.
I reckon we grew up in the prime era. We missed like the height of the 90s Attitude Era with the Stone Cold, The Rock.
Yeah.
We got the back end of those.
Yeah.
But they're still like legends. The Hulk Hogan, The Rock, Stone Cold, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Undertaker. They're kind of our legends. And then it went into like the the ruthless aggression era, which is Batista, John Cena, Brock Lesnar, which are the freaks, and they're still kind of kicking. Like Brock Lesnar's still going, John Cena's still going, even though he's kind of delved into the acting. The Rock just came back.
Yeah, I seen that the other day.
Yeah, no, it's pumping right now.
Yeah. When you look at an organisation like that, obviously it's not real. But you see, one of the Logan brothers, he's now delved into the WWE, and when you look at the athletes, because I look at the past athletes and look at some of their their documentaries or their lives on YouTube, it's such a brutal sport.
Grueling
what happens to
lifestyle
these guys.
as well, yeah.
Like you got to be on the road. Their live shows, like so much work goes into it, and people don't realize how much work goes in on the back end.
We were saying that when we were doing those tours overseas. It's like we were like living that WWE superstar lifestyle, except not as physical. Like they would have it way worse. They got to train regularly as well. Make sure their diet's in check all the time. Like there's so much work that goes into it. Plus they have to perform on TV. They do the live shows. Yeah. So it is a grueling lifestyle. I respect the athletes that do it. And like you're saying, they're getting a lot of mainstream people to cross over into WWE, like the Logan Paul. Yeah. Jake Paul will eventually cross over into that. And that's what something I think Australia lacks. And you see in the UK is they integrate a lot of their content creators and people that are on social media through to sports, through to TV. But it's just a thing we don't do as much here.
Why don't we do it? Like, I mean, I've done it a few times. I've invited people, but it doesn't seem like it happens that well here. It's like
I just think we don't embrace like a rugby league. Rugby league, for example, it relies on ex-players a lot. Yeah, you got your Braithen Astor hosting NRL 360 now. All the ex-players end up turning into broadcasters, and they should be because they know what it's like to play, and if they can speak well, go for it. But just general pundits, like there's a guy named Rugby League Guru, for example. He's been doing it for so long. He was jumping on like Supercoach. They'll write an article on him and just refer to him as a bloke on social media. They won't refer to him as a podcaster or like a rugby league pundit or something like that, even though he's been doing it pretty much the same length as a journalist. He just hasn't gone the conventional journalist route. So there's tribalism, I reckon. It's like journalists that really covet the media. Yeah. And people that want to get into it but don't want to go to the conventional way. Yeah. But people have carved out a path for it. Like Dennon Kemp started bloke in a bar, and now he's pretty much almost mainstream rugby league. I'm surprised he's not on Fox Sports yet, but he's on SEN. Yeah. He's got his own show on Fridays, which is radio, and his show's just as big as a mainstream show.
Do you think it's because like they go, I don't think we can fit this guy in a box?
No, it's just I think he's kind of doing his own thing. It's like why they don't get Willie Mason on Fox Sports too much, because he's probably just not fit for TV. He should be on TV.
Look, he's entertaining.
He's very entertaining. But again, a lot of journos don't like him. A lot of think he swears too much or he's not. It's like that Pat McAfee scenario where mainstream media or legacy media don't like him too much, so much that they're even trying to sabotage his show on ESPN now still, which he came out and said the other day. So
really
now? He's just said like they try to get in front of his ratings announcements and stuff like that. He called someone a rat at ESPN. But it's the same thing applies here. They don't want but people got to put in enough work to eventually just build up the audience, and that's what Bloke in a Bar's done. And he put on blokes like Hello Sport who are with SEN as well. And it just opens opportunities up for everyone. You don't need to go the TV route. You can go through working with gambling agencies, your own YouTube, but it just takes time. Joe Rogan, James Smith, the personal trainer. Yeah. I remember we were out with him once and he just fucking make your own show. Yeah, man. He was like, just do it on YouTube. Because everyone wants to be Joe Rogan, but he fucking did a podcast for 10 years and then he blew up. So do a podcast for 10 years. And I think that's the mentality that we have. It's like, I couldn't really give a fuck if we don't get on Fox Sports. Bro, we just kind of carve out our own
honestly,
thing.
I'm going to say it right now. I reckon if you look 10 years ahead, you guys are going to be fucking massive. Without a shadow of a doubt, if you're consistent and you're putting content out, you're very well spoken. I've met, for me, I know a lot about individuals. When I met your dad. He wanted to be on. He didn't want you to be on. He said,
Yeah,
why the
he
fuck
wants to
do you
be
want him,
interviewed.
mate?
He's got his own couple
We're
stories.
going to have to get him on.
Yeah, well,
But-
eventually we'll get big enough. I said, Dad, let
Yeah.
me just build up a lot more of an audience,
Get
and let me
excited.
interview a different range of characters first, and then I'll get you on.
Yeah. But you can see from your family, your upbringing, the support from your dad, how cool it is. Like I know when I do my videos, my brothers will ring me, goes, "Was that a fucking commercial?" I go, "No, I'm just fucking trying to do something different." He goes, "Man, it was fucking mad," and I'm trying to get people to see the different sides of Mets, because there's many different avenues. And I think your dad was going like, "Fuck Mets, what are you trying to do at 47?" I go, "Fucking what I didn't do at 20. I was a fucking idiot."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the biggest thing to, like, obviously I've been in the fitness industry for, over 25 years. I've done pretty much everything you can do in a gym like this, worked in every area there is. And then I realized that if there is to be more, or if we're to do more, for the business, or, for everything that I'm doing, I've got to be able to push the levels, whether I'm doing podcasts, whether I'm doing videos, whether I'm doing long form YouTube. And I for me, it was like, how can I prove myself at this age? Like when I look at you guys, I go, I'll read your bio and I go, these guys, they're fucking way ahead. But do you sometimes, I don't know, do you get like self-doubt? Does it creep in?
I get nervous before doing big trips.
Yeah.
Because you want the content to perform. You got some ideas that you haven't fleshed out. But now that we've done them, we kind of know what they're like. So it's when you're always doing something new.
Yeah.
I reckon you get a bit nervous, or like when you're working with someone new, or it's a big opportunity. Say I had to sit down across from Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
You don't want to fuck that interview up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So you're staying up all night trying to, learn your questions. How can I deliver this so like in a really funny way? Practice it. And a lot of the times when you, like with the UFC for example, you only get 5 minutes with these guys.
Yeah. So you got to be right.
If
on
that, sometimes they're rushing you.
Yeah.
And there's a producer there going, "Hey, hurry it up!" Like while you're off camera. So yeah, it's not self-doubt. It's like you just want it to do well for the opportunity that you get, and you don't want to miss opportunities. Like we bumped into Hezbollah once, the little little kid. Well, he's in his 20s, but and we got the chance to do a little video with him, and we probably had like 20 seconds with him.
Wow.
And it's like, we got to be quick.
Yeah.
And the UFC social guys like, "Hey, mate, if you get a video with him, it performs better than some of the fighters."
Yeah.
So it's like you got that 20-second window to like, okay, let's quickly create something funny so it does well.
Yeah.
And you don't want to stuff that 20 seconds up.
What did you do in those 20 seconds?
We just took a photo together and I said something under my breath.
Yeah. So
and did like a flashback.
So really, you got to really think quick on your feet.
Like when you're not preparing for the interview, and sometimes like a talent will say something to you and you got to bounce off them. Yeah, I feel like that helps. Sometimes you can get complacent and just kind of stick to your questions.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you're out and about, when you're interviewing people publicly, I feel like it's better to set yourself apart. It's better to think quick and say something on your feet that could be funny.
Yeah, 100%. Like I find when I'm doing content, and I go, fuck, I got a fair bit to shoot. I got to get ready, for John, and then I go, and sometimes I don't know how it feels for you. I go, fuck. I don't get overwhelmed, but I go, fuck, I got to do a lot. I got to nail this, and people don't realize like the fucking pressure that you're under to do it, because you're producing your own stuff. It's not like you got a producer that's giving you notes and show notes and all that kind of stuff.
And then you got to put it out.
Yeah.
And then you got to get the reception of it. And as much as say, just put it out and ignore it, everyone, I don't care who you are, you're reading comments, you're getting a gauge of public perception on you. So there's that pressure as well. But yeah, I feel like it comes with it. And after a certain amount of time, you get a bit numb to it.
Yeah. Have you found that you've become much more efficient in your process and systems on creating content from when you started? Like you're just much more efficient. It's like,
I feel like we'll just, especially with the skit stuff, we'll just have a premise of an idea.
Yeah.
And then from that idea, maybe we'll develop out a couple of funny lines that we want to say. And then from those lines, we film it.
Yeah.
And while we're filming, we have a couple of improv lines here and there that we could use, we could not use. Yeah. That comes down to the skits. Being prepared for like an interview like this, or getting people on the show or doing a podcast, that the preparation goes into all beforehand. But again, like I said, even with the tours and the content we shoot on the tour and the processes we have on the tours, we've kind of got more efficient of it over time, just with repetition.
Yeah. But when you look at, how far you guys have come, how do you celebrate some of your wins? Do you celebrate, or do you go, fuck, man, we've got a long way to go. There's no celebrating here.
I don't think we've ever really celebrated. Like we used to take the piss out of like people that would go, 100K on TikTok, he's going to get some balloons and cut a cake and shit like that. I thought that was so cringe and I hated it. And I got my brothers in check. Like my brothers always keep me in check if I want to be like, so grateful for everyone, do the classic kind of info. They're like, don't put that shit up. Like, no one cares. You're only as good as your last video.
Yeah.
And we were always just like, okay, what's next? What are we doing in February? Where are we, we just kind of want to get bigger to a point where, if I'm Pat McAfee, then I will be like, okay, we've kind of come a far way. But I feel like I want to be there.
I like how you got that vision of that's where we've got to go.
I think we will be the Australian version of Pat McAfee. I wasn't a former athlete, but we look after ourselves.
Yeah.
We have that angle of we're well versed in sport, domestically and abroad. Yeah. And, we try and keep it lighthearted and funny, and it's not just serious all the time. And that's kind of his MO. But I'd like to be the Aussie version of that. Bloke in a bar, for a domestic standpoint and for rugby league is that.
Yeah.
He's been doing it for so long. So we just, we're like a fresh people on the scene. I mean, it's only been 2.5 years.
Fuck, bro, you've done really well in 2.5 years. But like, when you say you like the WWE, you love all sports. Like, which ones? If you had to rate your top 3 sports that you love watching the most, which ones would it be?
I would say more recently it's become NFL in the top 3. But like domestically, I love rugby league. I do. I would say that's my most entertaining sport to watch. I'll put that as one. We're diehard Bulldogs supporters.
Bulldogs.
I know. I apologise.
Anyway,
I know you're a man.
I'm gonna let you go. No,
Eastern Suburbs
my
guy.
best mate's going for the Bulldogs.
Okay.
Arguments.
I would say then the NFL.
Okay.
And the NBA, probably followed by Premier League and World. Like we got to go to the World Cup and watch some of the best play, and that just, it's not like watching the A League.
Yeah.
But so I would say watching the Premier League is in there. We did some Premier League content when we were in England, and that performs really well. So again, we're not. I'd say Nicholas's sporting knowledge far outweighs me.
Really?
I'm more of like I'm on what's trending. I watch Cat Williams. I watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like I'll jump on social trends, but Nick's NBA knowledge is great. My youngest brother's NBA, Gabriel's knowledge is his NBA knowledge is great. NFL, like I said, they got big 53-man rosters. It's not like you can name 1 through 17 like you do rugby league. But who the star players are. Who's playing well. Who's dropped losses. Who's performing well. Who's in the MVP conversations. And McAfee does the same thing. He's like, I don't know the NBA. I'm not going to touch it. But when it comes around finals time and everyone's talking about it, he starts paying attention.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we're the same. NBA is a 82 regular game season.
Yeah.
So it's hard to kind of keep up with everything. But we do want to venture out of just doing rugby league because everyone in Sydney is just rugby league or AFL. Right. Yeah. And we want to have a point of difference. And we have. We've gone overseas and done other sports.
You talk about your younger brothers. Are they going to come in business? What's
Patrick, you'll be surprised. He's the third one. He's in skits a lot.
Yeah.
He's a long-haired brother, taller. I don't know who my mum slept with, but he got the height.
How old's he?
He's 23.
23, yeah.
Yeah, and then there's Gabriel, who he's in construction, but he's become a bit of a gambling junkie. When it comes to NBA.
Yeah,
he's well versed in NBA. I think we'll all eventually be kind of like a team. We are pretty much right now, as in but I'm saying like a content team.
Yeah.
When we're shooting shows and stuff like that, and that's the eventual goal.
Yeah. It's what's great about it is it's like it runs within the whole family. So that's a huge thing to be able to have so many people
I would say
involved.
the third brother
I'd
say the third brother's the funniest.
Really?
Patrick. Yeah, he comes up with some of the best stuff.
Yeah.
He's just witty. He's very witty.
Yeah.
And
wow.
I would say acting wise, I'm probably up there. But like I said, it probably just comes with repetition for them.
Yeah.
Like I'm saying in like comedic skits.
Yeah.
But
do you think you'll ever do like a stand-up comedy show?
Yeah, I want to down the line.
Yeah.
As like this repetition, probably got to put more time to doing stand-up. I've done like 5-minute
Yeah.
10 minutes sets here and there, very sporadically over time. Opening for people or just being on a show somewhere, but not enough. So I want to do that more.
Yeah.
It's just I got to find time for it, which I'll find time for it. Eventually, I'll do a year of doing it and then do a stand-up show, probably domestically. But yeah, and then acting like I did that. I did a show that was on 7 Mate under Paulie Fennick, one of his like Howzo's shows. Yeah, he did one called Local Council or Darradon Council. I didn't watch it, but I was in that for about 8 episodes, and I feel like we can probably get to a point where there's some creators that aren't getting put on, like YouTube TV or Netflix deals. The inspired unemployed that are very brand friendly creators that get their TV shows. I feel like there's probably going to be space for a group of creators to come together, create their own show, throw it out on YouTube, put it out on a streaming service that'll take it, and I wouldn't mind being involved in that.
Yeah, I guess. Look, it's a good time for individuals like yourself, other creators, to really put their stamp, of approval out there. That doesn't have to go through what people have to go through to kiss ass and all the other stuff to make a career for themselves. Like, you can pave your own way. It's a lot more work. It's a lot harder, but at the end of the day, it's yours.
Yeah,
no one can touch it. No one can take it away. And then obviously, the more people see you, then they can't say no. Eventually they can't say no. They're going to have to go, we've got to approach this person. But that's the best part about doing your own work. You can take yourself to wherever you want to be. And you don't have to depend on anyone. And what's great about it is you got your family, you got the support network there.
Yeah, we've been lucky. Like I said, we got to work with KO, I think, and we get to go overseas and interview UFC fighters. Yeah, man. As a job. It's extremely lucky. But, KO would probably be apprehensive of getting us on really early on as well. I remember Budgie Smugglers were a bit apprehensive of working with us too. I feel it's always good to collaborate with people. But you just kind of work within the boundaries. Yeah. But you got to try and remain authentic. Like, or do what you're doing. You don't want to, no one wants to be a sellout.
Yeah, look, that's the biggest thing. It's easy to be a sellout. I remember, like, you've done a big special at the PAV, and my wife goes, I go, might have to get Jon-Bernard in. She goes, be careful. Fucking run the business. But now that I got you on the podcast, we're going to have to come up with a skit here.
Yeah, we'll come up with something.
Yeah, come up with something. Skit. Yeah, maybe just hammering me. I mean, not many people like me, so I'll be sweet.
We'll come up with something.
Bro, like, I really appreciate your time. It's very easy to see, where you're going to go with your career. You mentioned Pat McAfee, and stand-up comedy. You got your family involved. One thing I know about you, and these are a lot of my guests, you just know that there's certain people that will never give up. Like, you could be fucked up and things aren't working out, but one thing I know about you, and there's other guests that I've interviewed, I go, this motherfucker here ain't going to give up, and no matter what happens, they're going to pave their career with any obstacle that comes their way, with whatever challenges there. There's certain people, John, that I know. Okay, I could tell that guy there, he sucks, but I'm about to fuel him. I better be careful what I say. I'm better off, saying nothing. But what I see from you guys, I just see, that tenacious, that hungry, that that WOG mentality, where you're the underdog and you're gonna kick goals. And no matter what I say, what anyone says, you guys are gonna pave your own way. And whether you struggle, you don't struggle, it's easy or it's hard, it's not gonna matter. It's gonna happen.
No, mate, I appreciate that, and thanks for having me on. Like I said,
thanks for coming, man. I know you got a busy schedule, so.
Nah, it's good. I feel like you kind of see the same vision of repetition and consistency,
yeah, bro, and
what you're trying to build with the content. And there's always respect. Like, there's even a couple of young creators that we saw the other day, the Cast Patrol, that they're called. They're boys from Maroubra way, I think. They're doing the same thing. Just trying to be consistent, putting out content and have eventual goals. And we just want to tick them off. Yeah. We want to enjoy it along the way. Yeah. Have a laugh, take the piss. and enjoy it. And we'll look back on this interview down the line.
100%.
And it'll be
And the cold bath after this.
in the cold bath, and we'll have a laugh.
For sure. Thanks, brother.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Legend.
Thanks.